Feels like it. Oh, yes. Big old perch. Right.
Oh, that's a big antler. That's a set. Dude, no freaking way. Oh my god. Let's go. Set. Right next to each other. Oh my god. Hello and welcome to the 3D Hunting House. I'm Dylan. I'm Drake.
I'm Drew.
And normally you'll see us out in the wildlife making hunting and fishing videos, but we're doing the responsible thing and staying inside since we're supposed to be quarantined, and we're going to be showing you the stuff around the house, like the deer, the ducks, and everything. So follow us into the first room.
In this room, we edit our videos after we shoot them and hunting or fishing. We spend most of the time in here editing them. For our first mount, this is a fish I've caught that was 14.5 inches and 2 pounds. We were fishing primarily for 1 pound bluegill, and we drilled lots and lots of holes until our ice auger battery ran out twice, and we did not catch a single bluegill, but tons of bass. But within the last 15 minutes of fishing, we pulled out this monster perch I caught. I thought it was a bass because it felt so big on the line. I didn't even know there was perch in there. So we decided to get it mounted because that was the biggest perch we've ever seen.
One of my favorite things to do is pheasant hunt because it's really cool to watch the dogs scare up all these birds, and it makes these cool noises when they get out of the grass. And we didn't want to waste the bodies, so we skinned the back of them off, and we made a really cool reef. We dried them and then made this. And instead of being bored in the winter, that's what we did all day because it's just a really fun thing to do. We make these decorations all the time, and it's just really cool to do it.
The next thing I'm going to talk about is some of the deer that my dad shot a long time ago. And this one right here was his first deer that he shot with his bow. It's a nice 10-pointer. And we'll go to here. This one is one that he shot with his muzzleloader, which is also a great deer. And then I'll bring you down to the sheds that we found this year. It's nice to keep these away from the ones that we have out here because we can see what they've done from this year and what they go to next year because of the cameras and getting pictures of them. And I'll show you a couple highlights. This one we found not that long ago. Really good mass and everything. Just an overall great shed. And I don't know if I can find it because we have so many other antlers in here, but it's a pair that I think we measured like 157, I think. So he should be a nice deer for next year. Follow us into here and we can talk more about sheds. So for this pile, these are just a bunch of little dinks, and we just let our dogs chew on it, like 2-pointers, little 4-pointers, and little 3-pointers. And next we'll go to this pile. These are deer that we have on footage on cameras right now, or deer that we're trying to shoot. After you get a little bit of footage of that, come over here. So these are some deer that mule deer that my dad found in Saskatchewan. I don't know very much about mule deer, but this looks like a dang good shed to me. Like, I don't know, good eye guard. That's about all I know. Next shed right here, another mule deer. We got a really cool, like, split brow tine, I guess, and then a really weird drop tine. So these are two really cool sheds that we have because we usually don't get a lot of mule deer. We'll never get a mule deer in Iowa. And these are some of our favorites. Like this one I found last year. It's a humongous 8-pointer. Well, not 8-pointer, 4-point side. And we call him Wild Bill. And we've been hunting him for like 3 years now. And I don't know, it's just an amazing shed. And here's some good footage of that one. this one is just the fans' favorite. Everyone comes over to our house says, "Oh my gosh, that's an amazing shed," and I, I would say that too. I mean, I would call him Dagger because all those points coming off that and that. It's just an overall amazing deer shed. And the last favorite is this one. It's got a 6-point side right here, and something that makes it stick out is we took it to the Deer Classic and it got top 5. So that's an amazing antler too. And these right here are old deer. They've either been shot or someone else has shot them. So it's just good to look back and see all the good times we've had with them. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Brad. I'm the boy's dad. These are my deer. This is one of my better muzzleloader bucks. He's a 10-pointer, and we've been hunting that deer for 3 years. And I had a chance at him in the corn with a bow, and he was like 20 yards deep in the corn. I passed him up, and later that year, it was a terrible winter when we did it, and there were 50, 60 buck or deer out in the field, and he was one of them. I ended up shooting him in the field, but this was obviously like the shed hunt. These are his sheds from the year before, and if there's everybody says let those 4-year-olds grow into 5- and 6-year-olds, and this is what he looked like, when he was 4 versus what he turned out to be when he's a 5-year-old. And I mean, it's a giant leap if you've got good genetics, which obviously Iowa does and other states. But it's amazing what that 4th to 5th year, 5th to 6th year does. And it's tough because you never know if your neighbors are going to shoot him, but you're never going to shoot 165, 175, 185 inch deer if you shoot them all when they're 145 and 155. 155, it's tough. It's hard for anybody to pass up, but those 135s, 145s, sometimes you gotta hope that deer's smart enough to make it another year, because you never know when you're gonna get your chance to shoot one that big again. My next one is a bow kill, and this deer right here, I don't know what they score. All these are probably over 160 for sure. This deer right here is probably one that I remember because I was hunting in Osage orange tree, those big hedge balls trees, and he came up to me, and I snort wheezed him, and he came running up the hill to me, and there's like a few feet of clearance underneath. He got on his knees and was looking underneath the tree trying to figure out where the buck was, and he ended up walking 3 yards underneath my tree stand, and I shot him straight down. He ran 40 yards and piled up. It was pretty awesome. I've never seen a buck snort wheeze before when I snort wheeze back at him. This deer right here is probably one of my biggest ones, and I shot it with the muzzleloader, and it was late muzzleloader is one of my favorite times to hunt. Bow season. I like the last week of October, very beginning of November, but the last week of October I think is awesome. But you can't beat late muzzleloader season in Iowa. That deer is probably my biggest one I've ever shot. But this was him the year before. Like I said, that other one grew a ton. This one grew a ton. He had a broken tine, but he still got the exact same splits. He added on, I don't know what you call it, a little sticker, a little drop, whatever. But I mean, you can tell it's the exact same deer, and he turned into a behemoth, a monster. So that's why you let him grow. It's hard to let people let him grow. This one here is another late muzzleloader one, and he broke a tine. This was probably one of the worst winters we had, and there were 3 bucks that were just as big as him in the field. He just happened to be the closest one to me. The field probably had 100 deer in it. As a hay field, I love hay fields. But he's a stud. And this last one, I don't know if you can get over there, Drake. You can get up there and look at him. That's probably my biggest 8-pointer. I mean, his tines are thick. It doesn't do him justice. He's a stud. Probably one of the bigger 8-pointers I've seen. And that's the first one I ever used a decoy with. And I didn't decoy him there's a little small 6-point decoy that I used. I didn't decoy him, but I decoyed 2 does, and he followed those does straight into me, and I shot him at 30 yards, and he died at 60. But I don't know. I don't use a lot of scents. I don't use a lot of decoys, but every once in a while they work. I think it's the right time, right?
First off, I'm going to start off with this black duck. We shot this at our friend Buzzy's house in Maryland at his impoundment. And overall, that was a really cool hunt because we don't get a lot of those black ducks here in Iowa. So that was awesome. Then we'll go over here to the old squaws. We shot these on the Chesapeake Bay. And we were out on this boat and we put a couple diver rigs out and it flew across our decoys and we smoked him. So that's also an awesome hunt because we don't ever get those in Iowa. Then we'll go over here to another Maryland hunt that we shot on the Chesapeake Bay. It seemed like we were behind a house out in the middle of these woods, and it was just an awesome hunt. All of these canvasbacks diving in at once, and we happened to shoot a really pretty one, and that was also a really good hunt because we never get them here either. So those all on the top row were all from Maryland. The canvasback, old squaw, and the black duck. And this speckled belly goose is one that my dad shot in Saskatchewan, and he was, I don't know, waterfowl hunting and also shooting geese and just a bunch of different things, and that was an awesome hunt because here in the fall we never get them to come down. This pintail we shot here in Iowa. Overall, really cool hunt. Not much to say about it other than that's a really pretty duck. And this right here is our pheasant reef. We shot a ton of pheasants this year, and I think we have, like, I don't know, these are just amazing. It's a really cool decoration to put in your house. And yeah. Now that we're done with this, we'll come over here to this one-of-a-kind coffee table. So this happened because we took a guy on a hunt for deer, and he thought that it was such an amazing hunt, that Iowa was such an amazing place, that he was gonna actually take ducks home that we shot the year before and make us a really cool mount out of them. And this duck right here, we shot at, well, these 2 ducks actually, we shot at a river behind our house, or a creek. And Peanut, come here. Come here. She's actually the one that retrieved it. And these 2 teal. We just shoot so many teal in Iowa during teal season that we had some extras that we wanted to mount, and he took them over.
All right, one of the things I think if you're going to be a good bow hunter in general, is I grew up not trapping a whole bunch, but we had a few years where we kind of got into it pretty good when my kids were young. We trap a lot, but I think it's good for looking at sign, and I think it's good for your deer hunters, and I think it's waterfowl. I think you learn a lot about it. Come over here. We trap raccoons, muskrats, beavers. But my favorite, this doesn't have a pan or anything, it's a decoration one. But one of my favorite mounts is we trapped a couple bobcats and mink, not all at the same time, and some beavers that we did. Pardon the mess, it's my work desk. And but those are some of my favorites when it comes to hunting. But my favorite is a dirt set for bobcats, coyotes, and foxes. You dig a little hole at an angle, maybe 1 inch in diameter, and you put some bait down there and some scent, and we kind of just pile up. I like bean fields, and you pile up corn stubble or bean stubble around it, and you kind of just put a little bit of grass. You push the grass down in the hole, so they kind of got to dig, and you set the trap. I set it 6 inches, a foot, right in front of the hole. So they go to dig in that hole and they set their other foot in there. But this guy here we caught him, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to get a mink with a bobcat kind of chasing it. Everybody always does a bobcat jumping in the air or whatever, but honestly, I think this guy has got one of the best faces when it comes to mounts. I think, you know, their face is when you can tell a good taxidermist from a bad taxidermist. Sometimes you look like you get a bobcat with like bug eyes, or he looks like Felix the cat or something weird like that, but I think this guy did awesome. This is our first year I trapped with my kids and one of my other friends and his son, and we did pretty good. For not knowing what we were doing, we did pretty good. It's kind of like Easter when you're, or Christmas, or when you go out, you set the traps, and then the next morning you go see what you have, and when you're trapping. I think it's kind of awesome. So trapping's one of my favorites. Here's one of picture's dirty. One of our first bands. We've got some quite a few bands that we put on. Everybody's got bands, whatever they do with them. I got my my old Lucky Fishing hat. It's too gross to wear anymore, but it's still fun of mine. But we'll go to the kids' room and they'll kind of tell you about. Oh, one more thing. Drake wants me to show you this. This is when the kids started to learn how to hunt. They used to take a BB gun out behind our house and shoot frogs, and then they wanted to eat frog legs all the time. And so that was like one of their favorite things to do. So they'll take you to their room and show you some of the stuff that we've shot. Some of it's theirs, some of it's my other stuff. Go on in there. Turn the light on.
So this is the last room of the house. And
For this animal, the antelope over here, shot in Wyoming by my dad. I don't really know the story, but it is the one and only antelope our family has shot. It is a pretty big one.
And then I'll come to my first goose ever shot, and it was on a really big pond. And I don't know, I love goose hunting just because it's fun to wake up in the morning, get ready, watching the goose glide in, like that exact thing, like cuffing up. And I don't know, it's just really cool watching those geese glide down. So there you can do.
And for our next mount, this is a Sicadeer shot in Maryland. It is one of the biggest Sicadeer shot on the farm, the third biggest actually, and it was a record Sicadeer.
And then I'll come to my first buck ever shot. I know it's not the biggest thing, but it's cool to, I don't know, remember the first buck you've ever shot. So we actually asked my friend's dad, who knows how to European mount a buck, and he did that on it. So that's really cool. And Drew, you can finish it off with the last two things.
This is just one of the turkeys he shot. Had a pretty big beard, and it was just kind of just a memory. I don't really know the story, but for this deer, this is my very first deer I shot when I was 6, and it's a pretty cool story. We were out hunting after school in the blind, and we had a decoy, and this deer was charging the decoy. He was sitting right there and moving his feet and hitting the side of it. So I kind of had a rusher shot. It shot just above the lungs, but it kind of scraped him. So we had to look. The next day, we came back after school and looked for it, but we did not find it. But the next day, during school, my dad went out and found it deep in the woods. But we lost his broodtail, so it took quite a long time to find. But we will show you what hunting is really all about.
So this is what hunting is really about. So first thing, we got wings from pheasants to train the new dogs like Remy. We got a golden eye that we were wanting to mount, but we've already got a couple of them in there that we're trying to mount already. And the best thing about hunting, the meat. This is pheasant meat. We got the deer heart. This is one that I shot from this year. And yeah, it's humongous. I really don't want to eat it, but my dad said that we're gonna have to. Here's some trout that we caught. more, but then we got a ton of just different kind of meats that we've shot over the years. Deer sticks, deer jerky, just a ton. And I know that the coronavirus isn't going to keep us from starving because we got a ton of different meats in here. So looks like we'll be good for the COVID quarantine.